Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Run Your Day podcast. Dan Hafner joining you here. Before we get started, I just want to apologize to you guys for no episode yesterday. I am still feeling a little bit under the weather, and I'm sorry if I sound a little stuffed up. But I felt an obligation and a duty to come on here. Thought about just kind of waiting until my sickness blows over, but that would not be my style. And you guys deserve this story and what's coming to this. So I apologize if I sound a little sniffly and stuffed up, but we're gonna get after it anyway. So appreciate you guys coming on here. We are on Ch.4 today, the forced exit. So um, as I talked about last time, I was kind of going through this process of figuring out what I wanted. Kind of dove into that entire process and how it's just always just a continual cycle that we all go down, and it's always changing, it's always evolving. um, but basically, what had happened at this point, I was still at this consulting job, and my performance really started to slip. I started forgetting things. I started just, I don't want to say sabotaging myself, but that's what I ended up doing indirectly by just being more interested in entrepreneurial things, in the videos I was watching at work, just the lack of focus I had, and it was kind of written all over my face, right? Like you can just tell when someone really isn't interested in their job anymore, or they're just not giving their all. They're just not present, not focused. So it really wasn't. It wasn't like a surprise, right? But basically, what ended up happening, um, I got called into a meeting with my boss and the bigger boss. And they just kind of asked me straight up. They're like, "Hey, what's going on? Your immediate supervisor, gave us this report that you were just not focused, not really getting things done, not just you've always been this way, and why all of a sudden the slip in the performance, right?" And I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Like I literally, I just remember that meeting. I can still vividly picture it in my mind of just being like, I can't lie anymore. I thought this job was one thing, and it just turned out to be something else, and it's not what I imagined it. It's not what I want to do. I can't bring myself to want to do these things, right? Um, and I almost cried. Like I literally sat there, like with tears welling up in my eyes, and it was just like looking back, it was such a weird moment because I was sitting there with just um, so much turmoil, so much like pain, so much just confusion, and just like these tearing feelings, right? Like of just like, wow, like I really want to be, um like I took this job for a reason. I really want to do better at it. I want to make this, um like this is my livelihood, this is how I pay my bills, right? And then just this longing and this yearning for something more, and knowing like way deep down in my heart that like I was just meant for something bigger, I was meant for something different. um and I just sat there and I just literally just like almost cried like in this meeting. Um, and it was such a weird situation, right? And then the conclusion of it was like, well, I guess that day was Thursday. They're like, well, I guess tomorrow will be your last day, and we'll just move on from there. And I walked out like, oh my god, like tomorrow's my last day of work here. I don't have anything lined up. I don't have a safety net. I didn't have very much money in savings. Um, I was about to, well, I had, was it? Yeah, I had just gotten married. Um, and I was like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, what have I done? You know? Um, and I remember it was actually, I ended up going up to my sister's graduation from college that weekend, and just like telling my family about it and my wife about it and everybody. It was just like this big black cloud that was hanging over my head, and I felt so bad. It was uh, it was rough. It was a rough weekend, a rough week. But like I said, there were so many things that were just causing so much turmoil inside of me, and I knew like I was it was almost weird because it was almost like I knew deep down that it was the right choice. Like I knew deep down things would be okay, that things would work out, and whatever happened, it was happening for a reason, right? But it was just very very scary to just let go and to just be just like leaping into something that I had never like done before and never been a part of before. I had always had something lined up when I left a job before, always. Um, and this time I didn't. I really didn't know what I was going to do, and I had this story in my head that I had this business idea that I was going to just take off, and in the next month, like it would absolutely start crushing it, and things would work out. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. I ended up just um, the 3 weeks following that, it was very productive. Like I did a lot. I actually read a book that absolutely changed my life forever, which was a very big book. But um, then I just kind of realized that I was just kind of sitting around doing nothing. When I had looking back on that, that was an opportunity that I missed big time. Like talk about like lining up for a 20-yard field goal to win the game and just shanking it. You know what I mean? Like it was just like a golden opportunity that I completely missed. But looking back on it, also, I was not in the mindset or the type of person that I am today that would have been able to take advantage of that situation. Right. So I think a lot of us have like these ideas of like, if say if you're trying to escape the 9 to 5 job and you want to start your own business or something, right? A lot of us have these ideas that, you see people online and you go down this rabbit hole of like all these people that have found quick success or massive success. You see people, if you follow click funnels on Facebook, there's these it looks like these kids are teenagers posting these 2 comma club award things where you basically generate $1 million from one web page or whatever it is. Um and it's like, wow, like this is easy, this is doable, I can do this, right? But what you don't see are the different things that people had to go through, the different circumstances, the different legs up that people had that you don't have. And it's just this big um it's almost a facade. I don't want to say it's not real, like it is real, but it's almost a facade. It's like the highlight reel. It's a social media highlight reel, right? And many of us get sucked into this. I got sucked into this thinking like, oh, all I have to do is just do these 3 simple steps and boom, I'm going to make $1 million, right? And like I could not have been further from the truth. Like it's just not how it works, right? Now I'm not saying that you have to just slave away, work your life away, do all these different things, sacrifice all these things in order to make something happen. Like that's an entirely different extreme. Um, but there is a balance. Like there, you have to realize if you are going to do this path, if you are going to go down this entrepreneurial path and be your own boss and make your own income, it's freaking hard. Like it's not easy. It's something that it's a mindset you have to be in every single day because it's a complete shift, right? Like you go from having this security blanket of knowing when you wake up every day, you go into a job, um, you can slack off probably, you might be able to, do some different things in between your meetings or your tasks or whatever. But by and large, you can kind of fly under the radar, maybe get some things done and just go home at 5. And like, you don't have to worry about it, right? Like you're going to get that paycheck every 2 weeks. It's going to be the same amount. You got vacation, you got benefits, you got all these different things, which is great, right? Waking up when you're an entrepreneur and not having that security blanket, knowing like, hey, the things I do today have to be income producing so I can pay my bills. Like it's a completely different mindset. Like it's a 180. It's completely different. And I will say, some people have an easier time at doing this. Now, I've never been one that has just had an easy time at this. Like I didn't, but it also has to do with what I've been trying to do. What I've been trying like there's tons of business models out there. There's tons of different things you can just literally follow step by step that will make you money, right? And the thing with me is I never really was interested in those. What I wanted was something completely different. I'm always a very creative thinker. I'm a very strategic thinker. I'm a very long-term thinker. So I had to learn to be okay with the fact that, like, yeah, I'm not going to get paid today, but what I'm doing today is sowing the seeds for me getting paid a year from now, 5 years from now, right? And that is, you talk about removing a security blanket. That's a completely different level, right? But I've been through this several times. I've been through this letting go process, and sometimes you do need that. You need that forced exit, that forced, like, opportunity to just be like, hey, like, you have to adapt or die, right? Like, you can't be here anymore, or you can't do this anymore, or this is not an option for you anymore. So you have an option right now, right? So basically, I ended up leaving that job, and about 3 weeks later, I found that my old job that I had left before was rehiring. So I texted the boss, and she got me in, and the rest is history. I went back to work where I had previously quit from, here in West Virginia. And that was a little bit of a morale hit. I'll get more into that in the next episode. But looking back on it, like, I had those I think it was about 3.5 weeks, where it was a golden opportunity for me to just go and do my own thing and really try to put forth the effort that I needed to put forth. And I completely squandered it. But looking back, I wasn't in the right mindset, I wasn't the type of person that I am today, with the mindsets, the skill sets, the idea generation, the creativity, and I didn't have a chance. Like, looking back, I didn't even realize that I didn't have a chance until I didn't have a chance anymore, right? Because I was still in the security mindset, security blanket mindset, and that's okay. Like, if you're seriously interested in switching this mindset, like, it's a process, and you have to learn to let go. Like, you just have to learn to be like, you know what? Like, yeah, without a security blanket, the world doesn't end. Like, it's crazy. The world keeps going around, and things keep happening, and bills keep coming, and um, you know, people move on. But sometimes it takes that forced exit to really realize that and be like, you know what? Yeah, this is something I need to do, and this is something that, despite what other people might think, despite what um, I feel like it needs to happen, right? So where in your world have you either faced this, a forced exit, or like something, radically changed in your life, or something just no longer became an option? Um, or where can you actually bring that upon yourself? Like, what in your life, if you look at it from a 30,000-foot view, what can you remove and force yourself, like, force an exit upon yourself, right? Like, maybe you have a job that you just barely get by, and you barely have enough at the end of the month to pay your bills. Like, that's probably the thing you need to cut, because you're never going to grow. Like, you're never going to be forced to grow and figure things out if you still have that job that's just getting you by. Sometimes you have to kill the little cow that's barely keeping you alive, even though it keeps you alive. And it's scary, and it requires letting go and then finding what you're made of moving forward, right? So that was that story, and I hope you guys got a lot from it, because I don't even think I did it justice. Like, that day was really a day in my life, and it's something I'll never forget. I can still see it, like, in my mind vividly. Um, and letting go is tough. Letting go is tough, but when you're forced to let go, then it becomes a different ballgame. So, all right, my friends, that's gonna wrap it up. So again, sorry if I'm a little stuffy and sickly here, but I'm trying to get better. I'm on the mend. So, we'll come at you tomorrow with another episode. As always, appreciate you guys joining. Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.